Hi everyone, my name is Befish, and today we're doing part 2 of the Insane Commission Stories two-parter. You don't need to have seen part 1 because it's a completely separate story from this one. I only had 2 Insane Commission stories that I really wanted to share to everyone. I have more, they're just a little too tame for a video, and I didn't want to yell at those people. This one's definitely a long one. The timeline might get a little funky because this lasted over a few years, but I hope it's fun for everyone because it's definitely one of the most insane commission stories I've ever had. And after this going on since 2016, there is even an update that happened before I could even post the second parter that will be at the end of the video because I recorded the story first and then the intro later because I didn't have any art for it yet. Which, speaking of which, the speed paint behind me is going to be a quick speed paint of a 4-panel comic of my bee Sona and my boyfriend's moth Sona. Just a quick comic about them becoming king and queen bee because it was the longest art that I had to record, so I thought it would be a good fit. And the full comic can be found down in the description if anyone's interested. And finally, there's going to be some parts of this video that are voice acted by a buddy of mine, so to shout him out, go subscribe to Captain Metric. And I think that's it. So let's get this show on the road. Let's start all the way at the beginning. This started in 2016. This guy comes into my DeviantArt notes and he asks me for his first commission is always how I describe him to people. Whenever I'm talking about it, I always go, this was his first commission. His first commission was Star Butterfly from Star Versus, but she is over the age of 18, overweight, and she is a Nazi. I definitely had that attitude of money is money, okay? And I didn't really think about it when I took it. I remember in the description there was clarification of this is just for the client, I don't believe this type of stuff, etc. I shouldn't have taken it. That's definitely where this all started, was this guy commissioning me for Star Butterfly, but a Nazi. And this guy was very political. Political in the sense that I couldn't understand what he was talking about half the time. I'm pretty sure he lived in America, but he was constantly talking about politics in other countries and history lessons and using really weird words. But he would constantly talk to me in Skype about these kind of things, and it was really weird. I never got what he was talking about or anything, but he specifically had this huge infatuation with Nazis and militaries and stuff like that. Whenever he commissioned me for a character in a military uniform, his references were literally pictures of a uniform that he owned, including the Nazi one, and other things that happened in these chats. Well, it's a little obvious by what I said about the first commission that he has this fetish for overweight people, and, people be into what they're into. I know there's a whole community for that. A lot of people follow me for that type of stuff because I draw plus-size characters. I don't care, but it was creepy levels. I realize a lot of these commissions end up really uncomfortable because people don't know when to stop being so goddamn creepy. He had no idea what I looked like. He would constantly call me chubby and overweight in Skype chats, and I would tell him that that's uncomfortable because I'm really self-conscious about that stuff. And he would literally just get mad and be like, it's a compliment, you better take that. And then anytime I would post a character that's slightly overweight, he would make really disturbing comments. And I couldn't find the worst of the worst that I remember, but I found a couple that were left on these pictures that were just of characters that are slightly chubby or something. I'm gonna show alongside the comment what art they were on too, if I can find it.
Those two should get bellies like their friend on the far right. So well fed and fertile. Oh god.
Even in his description, to this day, in his description on his DeviantArt, he lists his favorite artists, and I'm still there. And it says, chubby 16-year-old who likes to draw chubster pornography when no one is looking. Which I didn't draw porn, so I don't know where that's coming from. It was so weird, and I'm still weirded out that it's still there. Very weird. Very uncomfortable. He would commission me for, basically he had a bunch of OCs that were ponies and Nazis or other military stuff, I guess. And they were always overweight and stuff like that. It was this weird Nazi overweight fetish. He rushed me through commissions constantly. If they weren't done in a day or two, he would scream at me. He would demand a refund. And even while looking, I found this comment section where all I was doing was telling telling a friend, hey, thanks for doing the fan art, it looks amazing, and he's demanding that I finish his commission in this random thread of comments. I almost died when I saw this. Ha, it's adorable, and it looks awesome. Thank you so much.
You know what's really awesome? Seeing a project that I paid $27 for in my DA gallery. Please?
I'm not gonna be done with it in a day. Give me a while, okay?
Alright, I just saw you do other drawings before mine. Also, I would like to see a preview before you color it in.
He always had this habit of, like, getting really upset if you were doing other people's commissions before his, as if he is first and foremost every single time, which surprisingly a lot of people think this way. But anyways, he would be bugging me 24/7, and I streamed a lot at the time on Picardo, so anytime I wasn't working on his commission, he would come in and scream about it until everyone left the chat from being so uncomfortable. And then after all this, it was like several commissions later, I'm just kind of summarizing things up because I don't remember all the specific details. After a bunch of commissions, he showed up in my stream one day and he just had a chibi commission he was waiting on, and he got so fucking mad that I wasn't working on his commission that he started like screaming about it in chat, actually being racist. Like, I don't even remember specifically what, but I had two friends in there who came in and were like, can you stop? Telling him off, telling him to stop being so racist, and he left the stream chat. He messaged me on Skype saying that they offended him. They offended him by telling him to knock it off, and he wanted a refund because my friend offended him. It was like a $5 chibi commission. So after that, I gave him the refund and I just said, I'm not accepting any more commissions from you. You're blacklisted. And he got really mad about it. I just blocked him. A little while later, I had this Tumblr that was like a rant blog where you could submit to me your worst commission stories and I would post them for you with like little comments. He submitted one to me about me. I'm gonna have my buddy Metric read this one aloud.
Fat, dumb, purple bitch. So I would like to talk about this fat, ugly purple girl that decided to have her Prussian and Danish Marxist cunts attack me all because I said the W word.
Let me give some context. He only says Prussian and Danish because one of the friends that were telling him to fuck off was German, but because he's so obsessed with Nazis, he refuses to accept that he's German, so he calls him Prussian. I don't know. And my other friend once said he was Danish, and that was it. I really don't know what the W word is. I can't at all figure that out.
This girl abuses her customers.
Just imagine, like, 5'3" me, this really short, weak girl, beating the fuck out of someone by my arm.
And delays their drawings on purpose so she can buy weed with their money on purpose. Then blow off the whole drawing soon after. I'll never request anything from that bitch ever again.
I remember posting this on Facebook, and my mom's favorite part was the fact that she was wondering how you buy weed on accident. Just imagine going into a store, you go in for like Oreos, you come out with a bunch of weed. Oopsie doopsies. I don't understand it at all. But I got sent this from what looked like a fake email address. I just kind of laughed it off, showed all my friends. But it turns out that he was like stalking me the whole time. He would post memes, like me and a friend made a meme about him against him, and he literally like posted it to glorify the fact that we were making fun of him. He did this with like a Reddit post about him too. Not that I posted, but like he'll glorify anything about him, negative or not. But he tried to get in contact with me under a new name, just called like not and then his username. He just commented hey on my profile and I just replied no and blocked him. And then he continues to try and add me on these new names for 2 straight years, and eventually he finally catches me off guard with one. I don't recognize the name. The dude talks a bit like him, so I kind of assume they're friends, but whatever. He commissions a character from Little Witch Academia, but in like a military outfit. He was using that like wording that made me like, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'll just take it. And he literally pays me for a commission. And after the commission is done, he like supervillain pulls off his mask to be like, I was so-and-so the whole time. It was so fucking weird. And I even straight up in the note was like, that's extremely stalkerish. And he just replies like, well, I guess I just like your art that much. He was like so proud of stalking me. It was so weird. I'm like, well, it's too much trouble to block him again. So I'm like, well, as long as he doesn't rush me and shit, I guess I'll just take it. And then he starts like rushing me through things again. He started commissioning me again. I think he commissioned a weird comic with his character and then my plus size character Penny Doodle. She was like wearing her pajamas and he specifically wanted like her stomach exposed or something. He always talked really creepily like that. His character just comes in and like spams the walls with Nazi memes. It was so weird. He ended up trying to rush me through this. He was constantly using words I didn't understand, like specifically the word Nazball, I guess. I didn't know what this meant, but apparently, according to Urban Dictionary, Nazball is short for National Bolshevism, which seeks to combine the extreme far right and the extreme far left. The way it does this is extreme left economics and extreme right culturally. The end result is basically an even more edgy way of saying Italian fascism. Now look, I understand like nothing of politics, but the example's pretty good. Edgy dude, I'm an epic Nazball, bro. Educated dude, so you're basically a fascist? Edgy dude, no, it's different even though the economic and cultural stances are literally the same. Get educated, bruh. Hashtag Nazball gang. Educated dude, you're fucking stupid. This sounds just like him. He always used the weird Nazball gang and stuff like that. After this comic, he was continuing to rush me and I finally texted him and was like, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm cutting this off again. I'm not accepting commissions anymore from you. Which I should have just left it at that at the first place. Obviously, that's my mistake. Like, I shouldn't have let him back in the first place. I removed him on Skype, but I didn't remove him anywhere else. I ended up blocking him on DeviantArt. I think I only have him muted on Twitter. At least I did until he made a new account, I guess. He knew a couple things about me, like where I was born and stuff like that. Like, not specifically just the state I was born in. I got a random tag in my notifications recently where he was like debating with this guy of why this state is the worst, and his reasonings were like, first reasoning was like political related, but then his second reasoning was like, well, Befish was also born there, so that makes it the worst state. Do you ever single-handedly ruin a state's reputation just by being born in it? I don't understand. I don't understand any of this person or anything that he does. I don't know anymore. I am definitely leaving his name out of this because I don't want people attacking him or anything. I definitely think he's one of the most interesting people to describe from my commission experiences, and he just makes me so uncomfortable. And I thought I would let all of you know about this because it's very weird. I know I definitely should have thought before taking the commission, and I have them pulled into my storage now because I don't want people associating me with this kind of thing, because it definitely wasn't my views or anything. It's nothing that I would ever agree with, but I mostly just took things because I wanted or needed the money. Now I have the choice of rejecting things that I'm uncomfortable with, which is nicer. It's just one of the weirdest things I've ever come across. A lot of the time when I end up with commissions like this, I wonder why people are like this, and I wonder how people like this even exist. But before we wrap this up, one new update. I didn't expect an update because I didn't know the dude was still following me. But I randomly got a note on DeviantArt right after I had finished recording this because I don't check DeviantArt very often anymore. And it goes...
You know, for the second part, you could show everyone that Wofford SS star butterfly commission you made, and tell everyone how wacky I am. XD! Just giving you some ideas.
So yeah, before you pat yourself on the back, dude, this was already planned to be about you. You're a terrible person to work with. I don't want to directly attack anyone, but this is the most confusing situation I've ever had to deal with. I literally didn't know what to do after I got this note because, of course, I'm still gonna release the video, but I was like, man, this is weird. This is definitely not something I expected to happen. Like I said, the dude glorifies like anything that's against him. It's so uncomfortably weird. Lessons you should have learned, if they even need to be said, is 1, stop rushing people. 2, stop acting like you're the only thing that someone should be drawing once you give them money. I can't believe that's a thing that people actually believe. 3, don't be a fucking Nazi, and don't commission people for fucking Nazi shit. If you're gonna be a Nazi, draw that shit by yourself and keep it away from me, like a 500-foot radius away. Thank you. 4, just don't be this guy. And if you're watching this, I'm not gonna give them your name, but go fuck yourself. And that's possibly the best way I could end this video. I'm not really sure how to do endings. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed part 2. I want to do more videos like this, I just have no other ideas, but we'll figure it out. Bye!